The uninvited guest. I need to give you some background first. I go to Florida State University in Tallahassee. Every year, they have this massive spring festival called Spring Bash, where students from all over Florida come to party. My friends, Marcus, Tyler, Jake and I decided to drive down from our smaller campus in Gainesville. We packed into Marcus's car that Friday morning. The drive should have been 2 hours, but with traffic, it took forever. When we finally got there, finding parking was impossible. Just when we were about to give up, Marcus sweet-talked a girl into letting us use her apartment complex's visitor spot. Marcus has this friend named Derek. I use the word friend loosely because Derek is one of those guys who just shows up everywhere uninvited. He's loud, annoying, and makes everything about himself. We hadn't planned to see him, but somehow he always finds us. After we settled into the Airbnb we rented, we decided to grab some food. As we're walking out of a pizza place, there's Derek, just standing on the sidewalk like he'd been waiting for us. Nobody said anything. We kept walking, and he just followed us like he belonged there. The first thing Derek said was, "Why do you guys look so surprised to see me?" Of course we were surprised. We hadn't told him where we were staying, or even that we were coming here. When we got back to our place, Derek asked if he could use the bathroom, then pushed past us and announced to our other friends inside, "I'm crashing here tonight." My friend who rented the place was furious. He told Derek straight up that he had to leave. Derek didn't go quietly. He stood outside arguing for 20 minutes before finally leaving. Later that night, we realized Marcus had been sharing his location with Derek through Snapchat. That's how Derek had tracked us down. The next day was amazing. Spring Bash was everything we'd hoped for. By evening, we were back at our place with a few more friends, telling them about the Derek situation. That's when my friend Sam checked Derek's location and his face went white. The little dot on the map was right on top of us. As soon as we mentioned it, the dot started moving away quickly, like Derek had been watching us from a car and drove off when he realized we knew. That night, I woke up around 2 a.m. to the sound of glass breaking. Everyone else was passed out from partying. I grabbed an empty bottle and crept toward the noise. The sliding door to our balcony was shattered, with a brick sitting in the middle of the glass. I knew it was Derek. Then I saw the closet door handle move slightly. My heart stopped. I backed away and woke up Marcus. When we came back to check, the closet was open and empty, but Marcus reached inside and pulled out a large kitchen knife. Derek had been hiding in there with a weapon. If I had opened that door alone, I don't know what would have happened. We called the police, but they said property damage was common during Spring Bash. Derek had blocked all of us on social media, and we never heard from him again. The fake traffic stop. My name is Rodriguez. This happened in 1998 when I was 26 and stationed at Fort Campbell in Kentucky. I was in the Army, working as a communications specialist. My best friends on base were Williams and Martinez. One weekend in May, Williams suggested we drive to Nashville for a change of scenery. Martinez offered to drive, so we packed her Jeep and hit the road. About an hour into the drive on a quiet stretch of highway, Williams noticed a dark SUV that had pulled behind us right after we passed it. At first, it seemed normal, but then Martinez changed lanes to test it and the SUV followed. She did it again, and it mirrored us perfectly. Then the SUV put on flashing lights. We were getting pulled over by what we thought was an undercover cop. But something felt wrong immediately. The man who got out wasn't wearing a proper police uniform, just black tactical gear with some unreadable patch. Instead of approaching Martinez's window, he stood behind our car, studying it like he was looking for something specific. When Williams asked if there was a problem, the man finally came to our window and asked for Martinez's license. He took it back to his vehicle and stayed there for a really long time. That's when 2 more men got out of the SUV. My military training kicked in, and I started paying close attention to everything. When the first man came back, he asked Martinez if her father was in the military because of an army sticker on her bumper. Martinez laughed and said she was the one in the army and pointed to Williams and me, saying we were too. The moment she said that, everything changed. The man's whole demeanor shifted. He looked back at his partners, then back at us. After a long, tense silence, he handed back Martinez's license and said we were getting off with a warning. All 3 men got back in their SUV and sped away before Martinez could even start our engine. We were confused, but continued to Nashville. It wasn't until a week later that I understood what had really happened. I was watching the local news when a story came on that made my blood run cold. A man and woman had been found murdered along a stretch of highway near Fort Campbell. Their vehicle was found abandoned, a black SUV that had been reported stolen months earlier from another state. Williams, Martinez and I immediately went to the police and told them everything. I still believe that army sticker saved our lives that day. Those men were looking for easy targets, and when they realized we were military, they knew we were too risky. The identity thief. I'm a very private person, so sharing this story is difficult for me. But I think it's important that people know what can happen. About 8 years ago, I was driving from Portland, Oregon, to visit family in Phoenix, Arizona. Somewhere in Nevada, my car broke down on a lonely stretch of highway. There was nothing around except desert and empty road. I was looking under the hood, pretending I knew what I was doing, when a white pickup truck pulled up behind me. A man got out, maybe late 30s, with messy hair and a beard that looked like it hadn't been trimmed in months. He looked like he worked with his hands, similar build to me actually. He walked over and immediately started looking at my engine like he knew what he was doing. He said he was a mechanic and quickly diagnosed the problem. He said he needed a specific tool that his friend might be able to bring over. He asked to borrow my phone to call his friend, saying his was dead. I handed it over without thinking twice. That's when he pulled out a gun. His voice was calm as he told me to sit down and not try anything. He took my wallet, my backpack, and made me give him my phone password. Then he drove away, leaving me stranded. Eventually, someone else stopped and helped me get my car running. I made it to Phoenix and spent the next few weeks dealing with cancelled cards and replacing my ID. 6 months later, the real nightmare began. I started getting letters from banks I'd never heard of, thanking me for opening credit accounts. Then came a Best Buy card with over $1,000 charged to it from a town in Utah I'd never been to. That's when I realized my Social Security card had been in my wallet when I was robbed. This guy had everything he needed to steal my identity. What followed was months of hell. New credit cards, charges I didn't make, even medical records that weren't mine when someone used my identity at a hospital in Colorado. I did everything the experts tell you to do. Filed reports, froze my credit, contacted the police. But nothing seemed to stop it. Finally, I decided to take matters into my own hands. I set up Google alerts and constantly monitored everything. One night, I was checking Craigslist in cities where fraud had occurred when I found a listing in Salt Lake City for power tools that perfectly matched items charged to that Best Buy card. I contacted the seller, pretending to be interested. After some back and forth, we arranged to meet at a public place. Instead of going myself, I contacted the Salt Lake City police and gave them all the details. The next day, they told me what happened. As soon as the guy saw police cars near the meeting spot, he panicked and sped away. He crashed his truck trying to escape, and when officers questioned him, he immediately confessed. It turned out he wasn't working alone. There were 4 of them total, targeting travelers on remote highways across the western states. They'd robbed dozens of people like me. All 4 were eventually caught and sent to prison, Justice was finally served, but it took almost 2 years of my life to get there. Remember, if something feels wrong in any situation, trust your instincts. Whether it's an uninvited guest, a questionable traffic stop, or a stranger offering help on a lonely road, your safety should always come first.